suppose we have 5 over y minus 2, and to that we're going to add the rational expression 3 over y. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to find the lowest common denominator. And just to review with you what finding the lowest common denominator is, as we did a little bit earlier, in order to add these expressions, we need a lowest common denominator. To find it, we're going to factor each denominator, and we're going to build the lowest common denominator. It must be a multiple of all the denominators. It must have enough factors, but not too many. Okay? Well, this problem is relatively simple because in order to find the lowest common denominators, first thing we do is to factor each denominator, but this is already in factored form as far as we can go with that. And so we will go ahead and put in a y minus 2 factor, and we need a y factor here. We don't have a y here because this is y minus 2. It's not a y, and that's important to realize. And so the lowest common denominator is going to be y minus 2 times y. So now what we need to do then is we're going to need to go ahead and add these numbers. And so what we want is a y minus 2 times y to be the denominator for this particular fraction right here, for this particular rational number. So that means that what I need to do is I have a y minus 2, but I don't have a y. And so going back to the original problem, I'll multiply the denominator by y, but I don't want to change the number, so I multiply the numerator by y as well. I'm multiplying by y over y, which means that I have a 5y in the numerator over y minus 2 times y. Now, for the second rational expression here, I've got the y, but I don't have a y minus 2, and so let's go ahead and multiply the denominator by y minus 2, and we'll need to multiply the numerator by y minus 2 as well. Okay, for the second expression, then we have 3 times y minus 2 over y times y minus 2. Okay, so now what we can do is, since the denominators are the same, we can say we will put the common denominator, and all we need to do then is add the numerator. So this is going to be 5y plus 3 times y minus 2. Okay. See if we can simplify. And so when we multiply this out, we're going to have a 3y here. So 5y plus 3y will give us an 8y, and then 3 times a minus 2 will give us a negative 6 in the numerator. 8y minus 6. For the denominator, we have y times y minus 2. Now, the 8y minus 6, when we're simplifying, that particular expression has a 2 that's a common factor, so let's factor that out and see what we're left with. So if we factor a 2 from the numerator, we're going to have 4y minus 3. 2 times 4y is the 8y, 2 times minus 3 is the negative 6. And that's going to be over y times y minus 2. Well, we worked hard to factor this, but it doesn't help us in trying to make this expression look a little bit simpler because there are no common factors. So this is already in lowest terms. Okay. So what we did then, we started with the problem 5 over y minus 2 plus 3 over y. First thing we did was to find the lowest common denominator, which we did in this case. It was fairly easy. It's y minus 2 times y. We wrote each of the terms of the problem over that lowest common denominator. We multiplied both numerator and denominator by whatever factor we needed. And we wrote that. Then we could go ahead and add the two terms because now they have a common denominator of y minus 2 over y. So then all we needed to do was to add the numerators. We simplify, we factor, and write in lowest terms. So this expression right here then equals this expression in lowest terms. Sorry about that.